Mr. Speaker, I move that the House place on record its high sense of the devoted and distinguished service rendered to his people and New Zealand by the late Honourable Parekura Horomia, a member of this House representing Ikaroa Rāwhiti from 1999, holding the Māori Affairs portfolio from 2000 to 2008, who died on the 29th of April 2013, and respectfully tender to his whānau its sincerest sympathy in their tragic bereavement, and that as a mark of respect of the memory of the late member, the House do now adjourn. Tātou katoa I huihui nei, tēnā koutou katoa. Mr. Speaker, Parekura Horomia was a man of immense mana who worked tirelessly for his people, and he was taken from us far too soon. It's extremely rare for New Zealand to lose a Member of Parliament, and in my 11 years in this House, Parekura is just the third member to pass away. While today is a time for us to pay tribute to Parekura, it's also a time to reflect on the loss of Rod Donald and Alan Peachy, and to reflect on the other former members of this House who have passed away in recent years. Over the past week, we have all heard stories of Parekura's achievements. There has been an endless supply of amusing stories about Parekura from iwi, community groups, non-government organisations and sports clubs. He was elected to this House as the member of Ikaroa Rāwhiti in 1999. I'm told he made it his mission to travel the length and breadth of this extensive electorate, and he did just that. Mr. Speaker, this was no mean feat, as Ikaroa Rāwhiti covers the size of 7 general electorates, stretching from just north of Wellington all the way up the east coast. Before entering this House, Parekura had a varied career, and much of his time was spent on the land. He spent time working as a fencer, scrub cutter and farmer. He also did a stint as a shearer. And I note, Mr. Speaker, you yourself said that perhaps you could have given him a run for his money in the shearing sheds. Parekura also spent time working in the local Gisborne Herald offices before moving on to a career with the Department of Labour, both locally in Gisborne and here in Wellington. Mr. Speaker, we can all acknowledge Parekura as a man of his people. To Parliament, he brought an unfailing connection with his community and the ability to bridge between leaders and ordinary Kiwis. As a nation, we have come together over the past week to share in the grief of losing a colleague and a friend to many. Parekura had the rare ability of bridging the parliamentary divide. The spirit of bipartisanship within which Parekura operated is very powerful, very special, and very rare to find. Mr. Speaker, he became the person able to bring all Māori MPs together from across the House. As a senior Māori member and former Minister of Māori Affairs, his experience in mana was often drawn upon, and in many respects Parekura was Parliament's kaumātua figure. On any marae in the country, and especially amongst his own people, he was in his element. I myself remember a number of occasions when he came up when I was on the marae to ensure that I was comfortable, aware of the protocols and procedures. The respect he commanded was born from his tireless work for his people, the people from Ikaroa Rāwhiti and all of Māoridom. I heard a touching story last week from my cultural advisor, Lewis Moia, who spent 4 years working for Parekura during his time as Minister of Māori Affairs. Lewis tells me it wasn't unusual for Parekura to arrive at a tangi as late as midnight, which isn't traditionally the done thing, but in at least 3 cases that was the earliest he could get there, and he knew how important it was to pay his respects in this way. The thousands of New Zealanders from all walks of life who made the journey to Hoiti Marae over the course of Parekura's tangi last week is testament to the many lives that he touched. Parekura's family and his iwi Ngāti Porou have shared him with all of New Zealand for the past 14 years. And last week, the people of Gisborne, and particularly Hoiti Marae, opened their gates to allow us all to share in their grief and to pay our respects to Parekura Horomia. As Prime Minister, I thank you for the warm welcome you gave me and those accompanying me. Your welcome didn't distinguish between the mourners, and the hospitality you showed all of us was widely appreciated. I say thank you for pulling together to host us all at a time of great personal sorrow. I'm told that over the course of the week, Haiti Marae and the small community of 800 hosted 12,500 visitors, which is an impressive feat, and I know this put immense pressure on your resources, so thank you. Let us all share in your grief after years of sharing your father, grandfather, brother, uncle, cousin and friend. Now Parekura has been returned to you, his family, for his final rest. Mr. Speaker, but despite our political differences and because of our shared love of making up words, I've always had enormous respect for Parekura and his command of the English language. He never forgot where he came from and why he was here in Parliament. Parekura played an extremely important role in building the strong and positive relationship that currently exists between Māori and the Crown, and I hope his family are as proud of his achievements in this area as in every other. Mr. Speaker, Parekura was staunchly loyal to his Prime Minister, to his party, and most importantly, his people. Through some of the most difficult times, he took counsel from the people he was elected to serve. Though through everything, he championed a better deal for Māori. He did so across party lines, and he wasn't afraid to fight for what he believed in. I will remember his presence in this chamber, his big smile and his warm heart. E te rangatira, Parekura, haere. To the Chief, Parekura, farewell.
The question is the motion be agreed to.
Mr. Speaker.
David Shearer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Te rangatira nui a Parekura e moi I ti oki